Good morning. Good morning. Java Delight will uplift you. Stay tuned. The show is about to begin. Grab your coffee. Stay tuned. This show is about to begin.
Good morning, Ilse.
Hello, Mr. Brett.
I'm so glad that your electricity is on again.
It came on 3 o'clock this morning, and then lo and behold, all the lights were on, and all the kettles and the stoves and everything. And like, wow.
The ghost went around and turned on all your lights all at the same time.
No, we were actually in the middle of things and then just forgot to put it off. There's no ghosts here. Don't be scared. I'm the scariest thing in South Africa. How's your morning been?
Say again?
How's your morning been?
Yeah, morning has been good. Hey, Kevin, nice to see you out there.
Hi, Kev.
So far, the morning has been very short. You know, I actually woke up 15 minutes earlier than I normally do for the show.
Woo-hoo.
So, woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning, my time, which is normally closer to the time I go to sleep than the time I wake up.
Okay.
But made it and seemed to have a little bit of energy at this point because I did go to sleep a lot earlier than I normally do because I was just exhausted after yesterday.
Why? What did you do yesterday?
I woke up for the show after just a couple hours of sleep.
What show? And then you want to complain?
Yeah, and you know, yesterday I did not know that was going to be on the show the whole day or for the whole show. I didn't realize that Brandon was sick until I woke up and started seeing the messages. So glad that I did wake
healing
up.
For Brandon.
Morning, Jaybird.
Healing and love for Brandon and his family. And everybody that's been affected with COVID and any illnesses for that matter, we're sending you healing vibes and love.
Yeah, so what does it feel like to be isolated from the world again?
Same as normal. Nothing changed.
Man,
I still can't come to America. America is one of the most difficult countries to get in at. And I think I've explained to you guys, you can literally just hop on a plane, decide one morning, I want to go to South Africa, hop on a plane. Well, not now, before all the lockdowns and everything. But for us, it costs a lot of money for visas because we have to pay in dollars. Then you have to go and hope they approve your visa to come to America and everything. So it's very difficult. We don't have a strong passport like you guys. I think you guys almost have a nomad passport. I think Americans can literally almost go anywhere in the world without a visa or without little effort.
Usually not too much effort in a lot of places. I think that Australia may have one that's more accepted and a couple other countries. America's kind of created a little bit of animosity with some countries.
Really?
Over the past
why.
number of years.
What you do?
But now, it's amazing how, we found this Omicron thing and we're just going to stop all travel to 8 different countries in South Africa.
Hey, Jessica.
In the South African region. Hey, Jessica. Brian. So yeah, it's crazy how quickly they shut things down to that whole Southern Africa region.
Yeah, they grounded all international flights. I think we've got domestic flights, but all international flights in and out has been grounded.
Yeah, craziness. So at least it hasn't really affected you. You're still here in America as far as we're concerned, or anywhere in the world through the show.
That's true. That's true. So I don't know what's going to happen in February. Hopefully by then, everybody's used to this variant and we don't have another variant popping up, because
There
it
will
looks like
be.
the COVID variant is going to have more strains than marijuana. So hold on, baby, hold on.
Yeah, and it doesn't have the same, quite the same effect as all the different
Quite the
strains of
same kick.
marijuana.
Don't try all the COVID strains. Try all the marijuana strains, but don't try all the COVID strains. Stay away from that.
Yeah, it's nuts. But I'm glad that you have your power on, and hopefully
And
it'll
we
stay
don't.
on for the whole show. It looks sunny
Yes.
outside.
It is. It's sunny. It does show that there is showers, but I don't see any clouds yet. So I think we might make it through the show without any hiccups. I'm holding thumbs. You know what holding thumbs mean? I actually said this to Brandon one day. I'm holding thumbs, and he went like, "What's that?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"That is how we say in South Africa, like,
Cross your
how
fingers.
can you? Yes, cross your fingers. I'm holding thumbs because we go like this." And he went
Oh.
like, "Really?" Yeah, so everybody, we're holding thumbs that it
Holding
doesn't rain
thumbs.
today.
Okay. It's like thumbs up or holding thumbs.
Yeah, I like this. And you moving this week, next week, 1st of December, tomorrow.
Next week I'm moving, so just a ton of stuff to try to take care of, and I'm getting my truck painted, part of it because it had this, oxidation from all the sun out here, and it was starting to even rust a little bit, which rarely does anything rust here in the desert. But I was like, holy cow, I'm going up to South Dakota. They do have rain, and then we have the Misty River, which is running right through the town. So in the wintertime, mist comes off the river and it'll get all over the car.
Ooh.
And chances of that
Hello, Uncle Bob.
rust getting worse. Good morning, Bob. Glad to see you out there. And Mama Gotti's there. It's just awesome.
Guys,
so
before
yeah,
we carry on,
I gotta do a bunch of work and
before we
take
carry
this
on,
whole house down.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Please share, like, comment, just send our post out. Please.
Oh, holding thumbs.
We're holding thumbs. We're holding thumbs. I'll give you another South African, how can I say, surprise. I'll write you a sentence and then you can read it to me and then I'll read it to you in my language because it's spelled exactly the same, English and Afrikaans. So then I'll teach you a sentence in Afrikaans.
Oh, that should be cool.
But you have to share so we can teach the other people Afrikaans as well. Yes. Is it cold, Uncle Bob? Where are you, Uncle Bob?
Uncle Bob, I think, is back up in Colorado.
Oh, but it's everywhere. I see pictures.
Oh, Mama Gotti's got snow too.
Oh, wow. I see that it's everywhere that it's starting to snow.
Not here in Vegas. It's going to be 72 degrees today.
I want to move to Vegas. It seems like a place I will be able to live.
Oh, yeah. They have all the strains of marijuana here.
Yes. Uncle Bobby's in Longmont, Colorado.
Yeah, that's up near Denver, north of
Isn't
Denver.
Isn't that close? You going to? Also to Colorado?
Actually, from where Uncle Bob is to where I'm going to be is about a 5-hour drive.
Oh, okay. So it's quite a big place.
Yep.
I thought you froze now. I just want to say, please, no. I do not have energy for this. Don't freeze.
Mama Gotti's in Michigan, and I think, if I recall, somewhere over toward the Detroit side. Is that right, Mama Gotti?
I heard Detroit's very dangerous. TJ that's here said that if you stop there, the cops actually tell you not to stop there, and you have to leave.
Oh, well, there's been some places that I've lived, like Washington, D.C. There's a road where if the cops, if you get a flat tire, you just keep driving. You do not stop until you get off of this road. And the road is between the Capitol and Andrews Air Force Base, which is the Air Force Base that the presidents always fly out of. And that road is it always has been dangerous. And they're like, yeah, if you get a flat tire, just keep riding. You may ruin your rim, but that's better than
losing your life.
The alternative. So,
wow.
Yeah, Washington, D.C. is a dangerous area. It really is.
They don't show you that on the TV.
No, they don't. But I've been around the world, a good part of the world, at least, especially Asia. And I've gone to all the areas that the military says, okay, here's our safety brief. Don't go to this area. Don't go to this area. For me, that was an invitation to go to that area. So I always did. And they said the same thing in Washington, D.C. But when I went to Washington, D.C., that's when I saw people running with guns and hearing shooting. So that, to me, is the most dangerous place I've ever been.
So if I land up in a place like this when I'm there, what do I do? Do I just start talking Afrikaans? Skis. Sorry.
Yeah, you might as well. It would probably confuse whoever the perpetrator may be.
It's like, oh, what is this lady saying?
Yeah. She's like, oh man, she's the devil, so I'm running. She speaks in tongues.
So Mandy wrote us a little sentence here in Afrikaans. It says, dag sê Ilse, jammer, maar ek kan nie vandag lank bly nie. Which means I can't stay long today. Okay, Mandy, dis doodreg. Ons sal jou volgende keer sien.
Wow. Dogs.
Are you trying to read that now?
Yeah, I'm just trying to look at it and compare it to, some languages that I can't speak, but somewhat familiar with. And I'm like, wow.
So I'm going to write a comment here now. And then you can read it, and then I'll read it to you.
Yeah, like I found out from my cousin, one of my second cousins is here from Sweden. And,
Lena.
Well, yeah, one of Lita's relatives as well. But he told me that actually Sweden back in the days, the Swedish Vikings actually established Russia. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, the actual region where he's from, and I can't remember how they pronounce it in Swedish, but it's kind of sounds like Russia. And that's where the Vikings kind of gave rise to Russia. I was like, wow, I did not realize that, back in the days of the Vikings, that Sweden was actually the launching point for establishing Russia. So that was really kind of cool. And one of my cousins over there, he's got like an advanced degree in history. And when we went over there before, we would go all around. He'd tell us all these things. But amazing, because the Vikings have this reputation, right, of traveling the world. The Vikings were actually the first to really discover North America. From the European Scandinavian area. It was not Christopher Columbus. Sorry to hurt anybody's feelings who believed that.
It wasn't the Americans.
It was more like Leif Erikson, or the Vikings back in the day. So pretty amazing that this small little country that you think of now had such an influence way back when.
And now that you're quiet?
Because kind of like, it was the Boers that really established the white population down in South Africa?
Yes, the Dutch. Boer.
Yeah.
Boers, yes.
Yes,
they were some of the first one, and then the British came over, and I don't really know the history. I had a very boring history teacher in school. He used to, when he starts talking, we'd all fall asleep. So needless to say, I didn't do very good in history. So whatever you say, so I want to read you this. I'm going to put this on the thing. So you read that sentence.
My pen is in my hand.
Yes. So that's exactly the same spelling as in South Africa. So I'm going to read it now because it's actually an Afrikaans sentence. My pen is in my hand. So it's exactly
the same.
Exactly the same. The spelling is the same in Afrikaans. The words mean exactly the same in Afrikaans, and the sentence can be read in English and in Afrikaans. So in Afrikaans, that says, my pen is in my hand, which means my pen is in my hand in Afrikaans. And it's spelled exactly the
Wow.
same as English.
So now I know Afrikaans.
Exactly. I
Can
taught you
answer.
something.
The
There's
cop's
quite a
pulling
bit of
over.
these.
My pen is in my hand.
My pen is in my hand.
Oh man.
Mandy did not have the same history teacher as me. She's in 1820, the settlers, and they were the first.
They
So I
were
don't know
the
what
first
settlers.
from outside of the continent.
I think so, yeah. They weren't the first, yeah. Of course,
No.
the Khoisan, which is an African tribe that clicks when they talk. Yes, they've got this clicky sound when they talk. They hit with their tongues against the roof of their mouths.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's how they talk. And they're like bushmen. They're like this short. They shoot with normal bows and arrows, and they are very primitive. Lives in little huts and everything. So the Khoisan was the first, or the native people from our country.
Now, do they still have like an area where they live more traditionally?
I know when we went skiing in Lesotho, which is an African country, they still live in little huts far away from each other in the mountains, like kilometers and kilometers. You'll just see people walk and there's nothing. And then you'll see a little hut, but not in South Africa. In South Africa, excuse me, in South Africa, they stay in little huts, homemade huts, like, the roofing. They use that, the IBR sheeting. They use that to build houses. So I'll see if we drive again past there, I'll take you some pictures. So they live in this one bedroom. It's like literally just a little, almost as big, like 2 meters by 2 meters. Then they've got this, and they just stack the roofs on, and they've got wooden poles, and that's how they live. So when the rains come, that is where most of the drownings and the what do you call it, floodings and everything is, because there's no foundation. It's just built on the ground like that.
Hey, I'm gonna take a quick break. I gotta talk to somebody
You're
here, and I'll
leaving
be
me
right back.
alone. Okay.
Let me see.
Brian, I want to live in the middle of nowhere where people don't bother me. I'm with you there. I also don't like people bothering me. So I don't know if one of you guys, I'm going to ask you some advice. I've got water in my ear. I'm never alone. Thanks, Mama Gotti. You guys are amazing. I've got water in my ear. And every time I do this, I feel the water going around. How the hell do I get this water out? I have tried everything. Lying on my side, moving my head, and it is irritating as crap. So if anybody has any advice. So now I'm just gonna wing it. You guys want another South African? Let me teach you a Zulu phrase. Let me do this. That's not that one. I'm going to quickly get you a Zulu phrase because I'm not too good with the Zulu. So I need to translate and then try and read it to you guys. So we're going to do this. Come on. Now my computer doesn't want to type. Oh, don't be like that. Oh. I'm busy typing Zulu to English. And that one, like that. Okay, so now I must try and pronounce it. So, in English, when you say welcome to South Africa, you say in Zulu, Wamukelekele iningizumu Africa. That is very difficult, so please don't try that. I'm going to copy and paste this, and then you guys can try and pronounce this. And this is the Zulu phrase for welcome to South Africa. Let's put it there. Ostrich. What about an ostrich, man? Blow your nose. I'll call it leave me alone. Brian, are you going to get your own piece of ground and then you can go live there and then just send us your address and then we can all come and live with Brian. We won't bother you. Welcome to South Africa. So Mandy put it in English. I put it in Zulu there for you. Wamukelekile iningizimu Africa. Hey, so you had some Afrikaans and you learned some Zulu today. So that's just one of our 11 official languages. Zulu. I think we must do maybe let's try another one. Let's try Sotho. And we see what the difference is. So we change that to Sotho. Southern Sotho. Oh, it's different. It's different. It's Amo Helile Afrika Borwa. Wow. Guys, I'm very horrible with African languages. I hope Brett. Does anybody want to jump on the channel with me and have a chat? Uncle Bob? Anyone that wants to just tell us how their day has been and how they've been coping with all the festive activities and the Thanksgiving? Anybody welcome. Just let me know. Let me know. That's neat. How fun. We are learning Spanish on an app called Duolingo. Oh, wow. I would love to learn Spanish. I would love to speak. I already speak 2 languages, but I was forced. Oh, Mandy knows a little bit of Zulu. Mandy, the only Zulu I know is the Zulu that they taught us in school. So it's like a little Mama Gotti. I'm sending you the link. And then while Brett is gone, you can maybe just let's go copy. Let's go on Facebook. And then Mama Gotti can just quickly tell us about her kids, because I have heard so much about her kids. Mama Gotti, I'm just searching you, yeah? There we go. Link on its way. Let's do that. Oh, and Brett's back.
Yeah, I just had to talk to somebody who's going to give some investor packages to some people, and hopefully we can get the money to buy this bar.
Okay, guys, how much money do you have? Can we just send Brett some money? I told him he should have just said he wanted to borrow $2 million. I've got it. I'll send it right over. It's like, I'm going all this trouble. I have all the money in the world.
Yeah. I forgot, I
call on
Ilse
your rich
doubled
friend.
her money.
I had R1 last year and I have R2.
Yeah, right now, what's really cool about this bar is we have an offer in on it for $460,000. Well, there's 2 properties within like a few hundred feet of this building that just went under contract, and they're very good comps for the property. The value of this property, as soon as those 2 close, will go up $100,000. So we have an offer for $460 to buy it, and it will be worth $560 as soon as these other 2 close. So it's really a safe investment for people, because their investment's going to be secured by the property. So it'll be really amazing. And I don't want to lose this, because if we don't close by the 27th of this month, then the guy will probably just put it back on the market.
You mean December?
$100,000.
You mean December, hey? Not November.
Yeah, December, right. I want to close, though, by the 15th, because I want to open up and be available on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day for people that don't have a place to go, don't have a family. It is a veterans town, and there are a lot of people there that don't have families and places to go for Christmas. And, in the US anyhow, most places are closed on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So I want to provide a place where people can come, have a drink, maybe a bite to eat, and a place that they don't have to be alone. And then do our grand opening on New Year's Eve. So that's my ideal situation, but we have to go with what we can go with.
So Brian with a Y wants to know, how much do you need?
Yeah, well, it really is. It's 460,000. It would be secured by a deed in trust, so completely the investor is completely protected, and that's really the time that we're talking about. We're offering a 10% ROI per year on that money. So every year, the investor would be making $46,000 on their investment for however long they feel comfortable offering that money. It could be 3 years, could be 5 years. We'll be able to demonstrate and get commercial money within just a couple of years of operation and show. Because right now, the bar owner who has this bar, he treats it like a hobby. So he's only open like 1 day a week. And his financials reflect that, right? I mean, and he also, the community doesn't like him because he talks bad about the people in the community. So very few people come into the bar. And when we told our friends in the area that were buying it, they're like, "Oh, that's freaking awesome!" Because this is the nicest looking the layout bar in the town. It's crazy.
Okay, so see how we've got an investor for you before the show ends today. That would be amazing. So he says, so you need or not a multiple investor situation.
Preferable would be a single because it just makes it easier. But if we need to go to multiple investors, we can structure that too. Either incorporating the investors into the LLC so that they're protected and own part of the company until we pay them back, that type of thing. We're very flexible in terms of in our terms. So, and then it would be a great place for everybody in the Delight community to come and enjoy the hot springs of Hot Springs and come and check out the bar where we could have our meetings there and do our show from there. It's going to be pretty freaking awesome.
I also think it's going to be awesome. Mandy, have you tried PayPal or Venmo or one of those apps to send Kevin money? I think it's going to be better than a postal check. I don't know how it works, but I know that's how I've been sending and receiving money from across. So maybe try PayPal. It's instant and very quickly and easy.
PayPal,
so maybe
Zelle,
try
that. Cash App. There's a number of ways to transfer money like that.
Just want to send, Kevin said he sent me a picture on Facebook.
So have you heard from Brandon earlier today that he was going to see if he could drag himself out of bed?
Yeah, I don't know if you heard the voice notes. He sounds so ill. So we're just wishing him love and everything. You can hear in his voice and everything is not well. He's not feeling very well.
Yeah, one of the things to be very careful of, especially in today's day, and I know that Brandon tends to burn the candle at both ends and in the middle. And that can, definitely create weakness in your immune system. And I think it caught up to him. His parents it sounds like they got COVID first and passed it on to him. But, just because you're around somebody with COVID doesn't mean that you're going to get COVID or that it's going to really affect you in a very bad way. But if your immune system is down because you got a lot of stress and you're doing a lot of things, and Brandon does. I mean, he's got just a ton of things going on with the show as well as the stuff that he does in Cleveland. Man, I just am like, holy cow, how do you have that much energy?
That is true. He's always busy with something. He's always busy with something. So it's Leadership Tuesday. What pointers do you have for us today to be better leaders in our own lives and in our own mental health?
Well, I was thinking about this and wanted to kind of throw it out there to to the audience, yesterday I had talked about, how to anchor your happy place. And I kind of just went through it in a very high level. We could actually do an exercise. It'd take, this exercise can take anywhere from 10 minutes or less, usually 10 minutes to longer, but we could do kind of a truncated version if people want to participate, and I can help to kind of visualize your happy place and to anchor it in. Or we can talk about the difference between Captain America and Iron Man and how that actually is a good comparison for how you can look at some of the how the profiles in the wealth dynamic system work.
Okay, but we've got half an hour, so can't we do both? Can't we
can probably do both? Yeah, we can do both.
Let's do Captain America and Iron Man, and then before we get the guest on and read the bio, we can quickly do the exercise. If you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Take it away, Brett.
All right. Well, for all of those, and hopefully everybody's had a chance to see at least or read the comic books or watch the Marvel movies about and know kind of the difference in the personalities between Captain America and Iron Man. Iron Man, Tony Stark, is, he's that flamboyant investor. He's always, or not investor, inventor. He creates the suit that he's in. He's created essentially autonomous suits. Like we talk about autonomous vehicles. Well, he's created those autonomous suits, right? And he's very flamboyant in terms of his approach to getting out in front of the crowd. So he is got this very dynamic or dynamo energy, which is the creative energy, kind of like Brandon. And he likes to be out in front of people.
Brandon is Iron Man.
Brandon is like an Iron Man. Yeah.
Awesome. We'll get you a suit, Brandon.
That's and like Tony Stark, you can be very focused for a while, but then you're like, oh man, there's this idea out here and there's that idea out there, and I can create this and I can create that. That's Brandon. And then he's got a lot of star to him, which is like you, because he likes to be out in front of the crowd and he likes to draw attention to him. And then from the attention that's drawn to him, he also kind of shines that light on his own inventions, his own creation, right? Remember when, he was up in front of the crowd and nobody knew who Iron Man was. And then he's like, his friends told him, don't tell everybody who you are. And then finally it was like too much for him. He's like, I am Iron Man. Because he wanted to be able to get that light to shine on him. So he's got that kind of a personality. Now, if you think about Captain America, well, Cap, he's more in the background. He doesn't like to be out in front. If you remember in the first, Captain America, the first soldier movie, he did not like the fact that he had to be out in front of the crowds, kind of trying to get people to contribute to buy war bonds.
You wanted to be in the action.
Yeah. He is more behind the scenes, really trying to maintain his integrity, and also is a team builder. So he is much more of a supporter type of a person, in that he works in the background through his team. And that's really kind of the direction that Captain America took most of the time when he became part of the Avengers. Exactly, Brett.
You are Superwoman. I just had to put it up there.
Superwoman or Captain America, exactly. You are the person that helps to keep that team together, to motivate the team, to focus the team, because you connect with the team. Tony Stark oftentimes didn't really connect with the team. It was like, all about me. I'm going to go out there and take care of this. I'm going to take care of this. And the team's like, what's the plan? And they're trying to follow where he's going. Well, Cap, on the other hand, usually wanted to let the team know what the plan was and coordinate the efforts of the team. So I am the blob. Okay, Brian.
No, you're not.
So, one of the ways that I do like to communicate how the wealth dynamics or talent dynamics works is through, characters of the movies. And, I'm pretty familiar with the Marvel comics. That's a lot of the movies that Brandon and I did when we were doing the One Square at a Time, which we still have a lot of episodes that we haven't even shown out on the on YouTube yet, but we're going to get to that again. And then I also have the same kind of configuration set up for like the characters in Harry Potter, because you can see these different profiles in the movies. It's just a matter of bringing them out. And then people are like, oh yeah, I get that, and the best way to communicate things is to find something that people have in common. So if it's the movies, that's great. If as the current wealth dynamics stuff has been set up by the creator, who is Roger Hamilton, but he uses flamboyant or the business people of today, like Zuckerberg or Elon Musk or Beyonce, those types of personalities. But I can also tie them to, like I was saying here, Captain America and Iron Man. So hopefully that was just a real quick idea of how the two, the dynamo energy, which is the creative energy, the Tony Stark, and kind of the star type energy, also ties with another energy. So there's really four major energies. There's dynamo, there's blaze. Blaze is the supporter, the team organizer. There's tempo energy. Tempo energy is ear to the ground. And that's more of a person that really has a good feel for how the world is right now. There's those people, they're very good usually in the stock market, because they're like, oh, now's the time to buy. Now's the time to sell. Or they're the people that are like, they really understand their customers' needs before their customers may even know their needs. And they're very good at customer service. That's kind of the tempo energy, because they really understand and have a feel for what's going on right now. And then there's the steel energy. So across a square, the steel energy is kind of those that are like in the details. They love to do the research. They tend to be the ones that are good at the numbers, the accountants, the financial people. But they're also the people that help to create systems and then to manage a company that's been kind of stabilized.
So if someone's not sure where they are, they can just arrange it's like the quiz with you, and then you will give them, and you will be able to tell them what jobs and everything they'll be good at, and what things they might have to avoid with this.
Yeah, absolutely. I can help them to better understand what wealth dynamics and talent dynamics does is helps you to better understand what your natural flow is, your natural energy, or what I call your natural genius. And when you're in your natural genius or energy, you're in flow. Those are the days that go by really quickly because you're just really enjoying what you do. It just comes naturally. And when you can find a job, or you can make your job function in a way that goes with your natural genius, then you enjoy your job. You come home from work with energy, as opposed to coming home from work and like sitting on the couch and not getting off the couch until you have to get to bed. Those days where you got to take a rest and a nap so that you can go to sleep. Those are the kind of days that, when you're not in flow, those are the ways that your days are. When you come home, it's like, I'm totally exhausted. I want to just sit here and veg for a while, and then I'm going to go to sleep.
Exactly. I want to rest before I go to sleep, because I'm too tired to sleep now.
As opposed to coming home and saying, wow, that was an amazing day. I feel like going out and running or going out and having fun and, doing those types
Never
of
had a
days.
nice day like that. I feel like running.
Those days are a whole lot more fun, right?
Not the ones where you need to run. I don't like exercise.
Yeah, actually, I have had those days in the past. I haven't had them recently, and you can tell because I'm pulling it like now when I run, it feels like I'm pulling a trailer behind me.
Heavy breathing involved. Little heart attacks, little mini heart attacks. So Brian's got a question here. He says, "What character with the energy of being the executor, as in implementing and figuring out how to get the visionary's ideas done?"
Okay, so that kind of energy would really be more like my energy. It's a mechanic. So a mechanic, if you think of a square, at the top of the square, you've got the creator in the middle of the top of the square. You've got the star on the one side, which tends to have creator and people energy. And then on the other side of the top in the corner there is a mechanic. And a mechanic is kind of like the person that can see and kind of follow that creator, because there's a creative portion, or the wing of the mechanic is the creator. So they can kind of follow the creator, but they're also very detail oriented. So they are the ones that build systems. They are like the Ray Krocs that took the concept of a hamburger place and franchising it by systematizing what could be done to make hamburgers more efficiently, and then sell that idea, that system, to others to build their franchise business. So that would be a mechanic type of an energy. And they're not necessarily the best project managers, but they are very good at being able to take a creative idea and build a system around it to make it efficient.
Oh, wow. And then we've got somebody, Alicia, hi, welcome. I don't know if you've been here before.
Hi,
Sending you
Alicia.
love. Welcome,
nice to meet you.
welcome
So
to our
glad to have you.
community. And she says she's starting Duolingo for Spanish as well. So maybe I must start trying to learn Spanish as well. Brian says that's funny because that's me and I'm a project manager.
And I was a project manager for the majority of my career. I was actually a project program manager, implementing systems, doing business re-engineering, that type of stuff. That's where, I mean, I excel. I enjoy doing that. When I walk into like a fast food place and I look at what's going on, I'm like, why do they walk from this side of the building to that side of the building just to walk back to the other side of the building? They could do it all in a much more efficient way. And I just get frustrated because I'm standing there watching them do things. And I'm like, this is just a waste of their energy and time. And I got to stand in line longer because they don't got their act together. And that's what a mechanic does. And that's also, from a project manager's perspective, how the mechanic works in that is they actually understand and can see a better way of doing things, and then they can guide the team in that direction. So works very well that way.
Which one of those you get two ones? I can't remember the one word now, but one is analytical and the other one is, what's the other word? There's a word that's the opposite of analytical. So which ones of your categories fall under that? Under analytical,
so
which is
the
more
analytical is the steel energy. That's like the Lord, the mechanic, and the accumulator. That's, if you were to envision a square and you look at the left side of the square, call it, that's your steel energy. That's your kind of people that are more introverted. But when I say introverted, that means that we go inside to create an idea first.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you're not talking to anybody. You can still have an outgoing
You tend to go inside. Okay. Now, if you look at the right side of the square, that's the supporter. That's the blaze energy, the people energy. So when they're looking for a solution, they tend to immediately start calling people that they know who are familiar with whatever might help to create that solution. they're like calling people and talking to people, and they're like, hey, this is what's going on. How can we do this? Or what can we do to make this better? Where the steel energy people are like, oh, here's the problem. Let me close the door and figure this out. And then I'm going to go out and tell people kind of my idea of how to fix this. So that's kind of the difference between an introvert and an extrovert. An extrovert tends to talk their ideas and come up with a solution, where an introvert tends to close the door and figure it out, and then open the door and come out with their version of a solution. That makes sense?
Nice. Yes, but can you move from one to another if you maybe focus on something? Let's say, for instance, there's a job that you want to do, but you've got a personality on the different spectrum. Can you still? Is there things that you can do to move over to another
absolutely. One? I mean, you are a good example. If as a star, you enjoy getting out and talking to people, you enjoy that engagement with your customer, you enjoy the engagement with our followers, our audience, right? That's where you shine. You like that generates energy for you. But if I were to tell you, okay, Ilse, I need you to put together all of the numbers that all of the details about how to build our business, and actually do spreadsheets on it and sit there and, come up with all these numbers, more than likely you're going to be like, oh crap, I can do that, but I don't like doing that. I don't like sitting behind a computer and figuring out spreadsheet or doing all this kind of detailed research. It's like, no, I can do it. But if I do it, I know that I'm going to be burning a lot of energy. I'm not going to be real happy about it.
Yes, because it's not fun. I tend to work harder when when I'm having fun than when I have to sit and literally do physical work like that, spreadsheets and reports and crap like that. I'll do the work, the sales work, and I'll connect with the people. But when it comes to the reports and the paperwork and all that, I don't enjoy it at all.
Well, and that's it. But on the other hand, we've got people in our community that are lords, and that's real hard steel energy. And they're like, man, give me those numbers. Let me look through those numbers. Let me find, where we can draw some additional costs out of our program, how we can become more profitable by looking at the numbers. Let me do the research. They're excited about that. So there's that difference. You're having fun and excited when you're in front of people and talking to people, and they're having fun when they're looking at the details and looking at, doing the research. That's what we're trying to really orient around, so that people can do what they enjoy doing. And by having a combination, a balance of people, everybody's able to kind of really focus most on those things that they have fun doing, and allow others to do the stuff that they don't like doing, but this other person enjoys doing it. I'm not the person that really enjoys, going out and networking. In fact, I really don't like to go out and network.
I like that again. Like that.
And that's where the combination of you and I would be really good. It's like, okay, Ilse, I've got this great idea. Brandon's come up with this, idea. I figured out kind of how to make it happen, how to create a system around it. We got those. Now, Ilse, here's kind of the high end, because you don't want all the details. You're just like, give me the high points, and then I'll go out and talk to people about it. And that's where you shine. That's where you can generate energy of people around the idea, because you connect with people in a different way than I do, and even that Brandon does. Brandon connects with people because he's got this flamboyant energy and all this kind of stuff. But I think you connect with people on a bit deeper level, just because of how you interact with people. And that's kind of where you're moving from the star into the supporter area. A supporter is really deeply into connecting with people more on a one-on-one small group scenario. You're very good at doing that, but actually you're better at even working with a much bigger audience and connecting with them, because you just have that kind of energy and natural ability to engage people in that kind of a way. So that's kind of where the real differences are, and how we can build businesses around that. If companies really understood how to use these, they would recognize why oftentimes they are out of balance, because people tend to hire people around them, their team, that they connect with, which oftentimes is the same energy. But can you imagine having just a company of 10 people that are like Brandon?
Or me, for that matter. I mean, I know I'm a handful, but
and this is where
nobody's that big.
well, we're top
way
heavy
too loud
in
to be
terms
10
of
of me.
that, because mechanic, creator, and star are all at the top of the square. What we really need to do in order to balance us out is get people down at the bottom of the square, which are the tempo energy, those people that I was saying really have their feet on the ground, their ear to the ground, and know what's happening right here and now. We need that energy to balance us out. They're very good at being able to, they're not good necessarily at coming up with their own unique idea, but they're very good at being able to service those ideas, to service people, to do kind of making quick changes based on what's happening right now. And yeah, a company of 10 Brandons is like a herd of squirrels. You ever try to herd squirrels or herd cats? That's exactly what the issue is. And guess what?
We love you, Brandon.
Brian is a creator too. Fernando is a creator. So right now, this is actually a good combination for starting a company, because it's ideas and a lot of energy there. But we really need to get now some more people that are like supporters and helping to draw a team in, helping to really connect more with our audience at a deeper level. And then we go down into the tempo energy, which is, now that we've got a big following, we want to continue to service the followers, our audience, in a way that really helps to meet the audience's needs. So we've got to build now around that square. As we're getting a larger and larger following, we need to start really connecting deeper with our followers, and then to service our followers, to provide those services that our followers really want. And that's where that energy comes in.
So I want to ask you a question. Being a mechanic, because that's what you are, taking the idea and moving it forward, how do we get more followers on our page? How do we get our show out to
what a mechanic does is looks at things like our web page and says, you know, this is not really the most intuitive web page. This is not the easiest thing to follow. It really doesn't give us the right, the easiest way for a follower to understand what we're doing. And if we're doing an order for like Delight CBD, you want it to be as simple and easy as possible, as much as a one click away from seeing it and being excited about it to actually completing the deal, closing the deal. Yes. That's what a mechanic does. Where on your side, you're really better engaging the audience and helping them to know, hey, go over here and check out the website. And you can generate a lot of energy, but if they go to the website and the website's kind of kludgy, you know, difficult to follow, or doesn't, you know, it takes you 10 steps to finish your order. That's where the mechanic comes in and says, let's take this process that now takes 10 steps and take it down to 2 or 3 steps. And then you're servicing your audience better, because you're making it so much easier for them to do what you really want them to do, make an order. So that's what that's kind of how those dynamics work together. Does that make sense?
So it does. We've talked a lot now, so I don't think we've got time for our exercise, but we do have time if you want to tell our viewers where to get hold of you and how to get an assessment from you, so they can see where they're on the spectrum what they are?
Yeah, so there's actually what I'm going to do as opposed to that next week, I'm going to go into that and give where you can get a free assessment, which will just tell you one of the 4 energies that you're closer with, but it doesn't tell you your exact profile, because the exact profile, that assessment is a $97 investment. And then usually, you know, I take it from there, and I can do a one-on-one with people. Normally I do it for like a couple $100 on top of that 97. I can cut a deal, you know, for people that are our followers, but there is also a free assessment that can get you one of those, you know, the dynamo, the blaze, the tempo, or the seal I was just talking about. It will give you that for free. And that will at least give you a little bit more of context when I'm talking about these things on the show. So I'll do that next week.
Oh, nice. Thank you so much. And then I'm gonna. Is there anything else?
No, I was going to say, do you want to read through the bio of our guest who is in the background?
Same
minds. Bring him on here.
Same minds. So, to our guest in the background, if I pronounce your name wrong, I do apologize.
I think it's Arjuna Ishaya. At least that sounds right. And he's shaking his head, so maybe it's close.
Close enough. Guys, so today we are interviewing our special guest, Arjuna Ishaya. We'll get the right name now. Originally an outdoor instructor, I've been a monk and teacher since 2003. My aim is to make spirituality accessible for real people, not only as a tool for inner freedom and enlightenment, but to make peace practical so people can get what they want from life while having the most fun possible. I want people to know how to live life to the full through being present and mindful. Find peace through the acceptance of reality. Use meditation as a tool to focus and courage. Gain deep clarity and wisdom. Amongst others, I'm currently working with the British military and London Metropolitan Police bomb disposal squads. Also, I'm the author of 2 books, a husband, a father of 2 young kids, and I try and get out kayaking as much as I can. I'm very excited for this episode. Let me just put that out there.
All right. Well, we are going to bring our guest on as soon as we get word from our sponsor.
Something like
I'm in trouble here because I'm not sure which one it is.
I know which one it is. Which one that is. I can help you with that.
It's been a while since I've been back there and I pushed the wrong button.
Hi,
I think it's
my name is Brendan, and over the past year, the Delight Cafe team and I have traveled across the U.S. researching this rapidly growing industry of CBD products. What we have found throughout the industry were products that were inconsistent in dosage and used ingredients that weren't even lab tested. Products with chalky textures, bitter aftertaste, and worst of all, confusion among the CBD consumers. That's why we created Delight Cafe. A 15 milligram, lab tested, all natural, water soluble hemp CBD powder pack. It's odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Add it to your favorite drink of choice, wherever, whenever, on the go. Quickly find your calm, your balance, your delight when you need it most.
Our leader's pretty face. Let me just.
There we go.
I almost forgot to put you in the picture. Good day. Good morning.
How you guys doing?
Excellent.
In you. First of all, how do we pronounce your name so we can stop swearing at you?
You did good. It's Arjuna Ishaya.
Okay,
Arjuna Ishaya.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Arjuna Ishaya. Okay, I don't know how to put that
Ishaya.
one. Where Brandon puts
Ishaya.
Big, so we're gonna use this one. There we go. We're going to use this one. Sorry, Brandon. First of all, welcome to our show and our community. We are very happy to have you here, and we are so excited to what you're going to teach us. So my first question is just, is Arjuna Ishaya your real name? Or is it the name that was given to you when you decided to become a monk?
Yeah.
And exactly. How do they choose your names?
Gee, I don't know how they choose it, but when I became a monk, my meditation teacher said, we did a ceremony and your new name is Arjuna Ishaya.
And you don't have a choice in the matter.
No. But it's a representation of someone's flavor. It's in Sanskrit, so the vibration of the sound relates to the vibration of a person.
Oh wow, that's very interesting. Brett, how do you become a monk? Can anybody become a monk? Is there certain criteria, or how does it work?
I mean, you got to be committed, but that's probably the deepest, and really committed to your to inner peace. To to that.
Okay.
To doing whatever it takes to be free of the mind, to free of suffering. So anyone can be, but I think not everybody wants to be, if that makes sense.
Yes. I mean, it takes a lot of dedication, doesn't it?
Well, I think it takes a lot of dedication to do anything. If you're going to watch 20 hours of TV a day, it takes a lot of dedication. So it just really depends on your focus, I think.
Well, exactly. So it's a dedication to whatever it is that you want to do. And in your case, it was a dedication to wanting to follow, I'm guessing, more, not with this dedication that I want to become a monk, but a dedication that I wanted to learn what it is that the beliefs and so forth of the community, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The reason I became a monk was simply because they said, look, I was an outdoor instructor, and the happiest times of my life were up in the mountains and the rivers. And I didn't want to give that up, but I wanted that more. I wanted that in the middle of working, in the middle of the city. And I just didn't want a roller coaster life. And so when they said, look, this is about your peace, it's about you ending suffering for yourself and showing other people that way too. It was an easy sell, because I saw, I was at my best when I was happy and peaceful and centered, when I was free of the worries and doubts and fears of my own mind. And so it wasn't a difficult decision to say, hey, well, let's put that first and see what kind of life, see what kind of difference I can create from that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a bit like what I was going to do in our exercise today, and that is help people to kind of anchor their happy place. That even when you're at work or you're in a stressful situation, you can bring that happy place back here, which is really where you experience it. Whether you're in the woods or in a kayak, the place that you're really experiencing it is here. So you can do that regardless of where you're at, right?
Yeah, but we don't get that. I mean, I guess it's our consumer society. We say, when I have a certain thing, or when my life looks the way I want it to, then I can be happy. And it gets tricky because we never line up. Life isn't lined up perfectly often. And if it is, it kind of falls apart. Problems come, challenges come, because life happens, right? And so we think our happiness depends on some other time, some other place, on conditions being met. And as you just said, no, it's really about how we relate to all the things. So
there's a couple of questions from our viewers. We've got the first one, because I also don't think I've ever seen women that are monks. Can women be monks? And then Mama Gotti wants to know, what is the focus for a monk? And that almost touches on my next question, like, what is the daily routine for a monk? What is your daily routine?
Yeah. So in our tradition, women can become monks. I mean, I don't know why we don't call them nuns, but I don't know. That just seems funny. But my wife, for example, is a monk. And what was the next question? What was your focus?
Yes. What is the focus for a monk? And then just off that, what does the daily routine of a monk look like? Especially if you're in the monastery. Do you live in a monastery now?
I used to, no, but not now. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
so the focus really is on creating an inner world that means you can live an exceptional outer life. It's really learning how to master your mind, to find peace to free yourself of doubt, fear, pain, suffering. So that's the primary focus. And so, but you can see how that would be a beautiful focus for anything that you wanted to do in the external world. The reason I was an outdoor instructor, I saw it as about skills and giving people adventures, but I also saw it as about giving them confidence or helping them overcome their doubts. So I kind of becomes sort of a psychologist counselor as well. So yeah, that's my focus. I guess that's what the focus of the Ishayas is peace first, action second.
Right. How long did it take you to like be qualified and acknowledged as being at the level of a monk? Because I guess like when I think of a monk, I think that it was tens of years of study, meditation, following those that have achieved that level, and then there is kind of more of an esoteric elevation of a monk beyond the normal person.
I guess in my tradition, the it's not so much about levels of attainment, but how dedicated you are to not only your own peace, but the peace of the world. And so my initial vows were for 12 months. It was like a trial period just to see if I was truly into this. And then I was. After 6 months, I took my lifetime vows. I said, this is what I want to do for my life. And then some years later, I took my eternal vows, which basically means this is what I'm dedicated to for the rest of eternity. So it's not really about we acknowledge you as an exceptional being, but it's an acknowledgement or a focus or an orientation to someone's dedication for their life or for their being. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. What can I ask? What kind of vows do you guys do? Because I know that when you do wedding vows, you promise to be to love and cherish and all those crap that usually never happens. But in any case, that's not part of the question. What kind of vows do you guys lay down when you decide to be a monk?
And I just like those wedding vows too. The actuality may fall short, but it's a goal, it's a guide, it's an aspiration, it's an attempt to hold a higher standard. And the more, like my teacher tells me all the time, just read your vows every day, remind yourself, and they set me up for my day beautifully because they create that focus for the most important thing, for something I want to prioritize. And so it's a lot. It's a lot about surrendering the ego to embrace a higher wisdom, a higher love, and a higher compassion. It's about getting out of my own way and letting something bigger than me, bigger than my ego, speak, act, be. So a ton of surrender in terms of that. And people, I think when I first heard the word surrender, I freaked out. It was like, well, that's terrifying. But increasingly, I think, for example, the Alcoholics Anonymous, they have the serenity prayer, right? Give me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Now, the wisdom to know the difference, we know, we have that wisdom within us always, but we just don't listen. And surrender for me is coming, a way of defining it would be to acknowledge, to listen, to get out of the way so that source of inner wisdom can come through.
Can you describe yourself in terms of like your energy and how you interacted with people and things like that before becoming or starting to you know, dedicate your life to becoming a monk or being a monk? Because I think that sometimes, you know, we see monks and they're all very grounded, very calm, but they may not have been that way before. And some people, I think it may be easier to be at that calm, even state than others. And maybe you know of some others that were like, you know, big time flamboyant personalities and stuff like that. But now when you see them, they're much more grounded in the way that they communicate. So I was wondering if that was kind of your situation, or if you knew, you know, how that kind of plays out.
Yeah, I think grounded is a beautiful word to describe it. Is when you align with that internal source of wisdom and presence, that's you don't fly off the handle so much in drama or gossip or, well, for me, it was mainly self-violence. You know, I would get incredibly angry, but it was the kind of anger that came from repressing what I actually had to say or do in the moment. Do you know, and you can stuff it down and eventually it just blows up, and you stay awake you're awake at 3 a.m. going, man, I should have said that, or I should have done that. And I've become a lot better at just speaking my truth when the time requires, but also a lot better at letting go of the doubt, the anxiety, the fear, the outrageous expectations that we all have of ourselves, the fear of what other people think, all of that stuff that we kind of share as humans. For me, that's the way it looked. It was the doubt, but also the anger and the feeling I could not say something to someone because what would they think if I hurt them or whatever. So, yeah, you know, I've gotten very grounded but I don't think I particularly was ungrounded. But in terms of the mental suffering, that's become a lot easier load to carry.
I've realized that with me and after my awakening as well, just being grounded and trying to just focus on how you act in a situation. I saw a TikTok video where they said if you're in a situation, you just need to tell yourself that it's a neutral situation, because you do not always need to react in a situation, because that's me. I am in a situation and then I react instead of going, okay, this is a neutral situation, let's see where it's going or what's happening and everything. So I've got a question. Do you get different kinds of monks, or do you only get one kind? Because I know you get priests and nuns. And do you guys also have rules of certain things that you're not allowed to do? Or can you do literally anything? You just need to be a monk, or is there rules? And if there's rules, if you break them, what happens?
All right. So there's three kinds: red ones, white ones, black ones. The clothing that you wear, and it's related to the vows that you take. And the white is about purity and joy. The red is unconditional love, and the blacks are about compassion. What can't you do? The reason, again, I became an Ishaya is really because they said, well, it's not really the activity, it's your relationship, your addiction, your habits around it. You know, there's nothing really wrong. Sex isn't bad if it's in a loving, committed relationship. If it's full of communication and care and compassion and kindness and all of these things. If it's a one-night stand, if you're constantly addicted, you know, maybe it's not the sex, but it's about you. The same with alcohol. You know, it's not about the wine or the whiskey. It's about our relationship to it. That's when it becomes a source of suffering, right? And so all the vows really are, hey, point the finger back at yourself and see where you're addicted, see where your habits are, see where you can do things better. Transform that relationship. Don't point the finger and say, well, it's the drugs or the alcohol or etc. Having said that, certain drugs aren't particularly useful because they take you away from the center of peace rather than add to it. Now, I know that might be a controversial subject for some people. They say, well, I need this because it gives me that. But again, it's that kind of sense that I need this experience, this external thing to give me an inner experience. Maybe it can be a signpost for people, but I think you got to be stand on your own 2 feet and recognize, how can I live that experience myself rather than needing anything on the outside to give it to me.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting. One of the ways, and the reason actually that I'm moving to South Dakota, is that there's these natural mineral water hot springs. And for the first time, I mean, I've been to, I was in India, I went to Tibet, I went to Nepal, and I've done Tony Robbins stuff. I've done things along those lines. But in order to really get that inner peace, it was always kind of a challenge. And what I found when I went to this place, which was only months ago, that after spending, and first of all, I've never spent like 4 hours in water. Never, ever. And here it felt comfortable to be in the waters coming from Mother Earth for 4 hours. And after a while, it like all of a sudden started to release these everyday things that go on in your head and allowed other things to come in from the universal spirit or energy. And it sounds like as you progress toward becoming a monk and so forth, you're almost like finding a way to be in that water without being in the water, and to open up to allow things to come to you that we don't oftentimes perceive, because we have so much going on in our head that it blocks the real answers from coming to us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. I think, I still go kayaking because it gives me such a high. I'm not saying don't go out and treat yourself or bathe in the sacred spots that are around the world, or take, CBD. I've never taken it, but my friends have told me how wonderful it is for anxiety and things like this, for trauma. So there's certain things that can really help you. And I guess the whole focus for me is really recognizing when I'm leaning on something and needing something, rather than, hey, this would be nice, I want this sounds like fun. Do you know? And for me, that's all the rules are wrapped up around on being a monk, is when someone guiding you again back to your own heart, rather than and seeing the ego's reliance on a person or a substance or a place or anything. Is cutting those chains and becoming free of any kind of mental attachment.
You talk a lot about ego death or ego and that type of thing, and going through the spiritual journey and everything. You hear a lot about surrender and ego death. Can you maybe tell our viewers exactly what ego death is?
Because it gets tricky, because you think there's a book, and I can't remember the author, but the title was "The Ego is the Enemy" by a Stoic guy, Ryan Holiday. That's him. And there's this idea that we have to do battle with some inner kind of demons or inner force. And I think one of the realizations you'll get on an inner path is there's no battle required. If anything, you have to love your limitations, love your ego, love it as a 3-year-old, as unhappy, having a tantrum, afraid. So in terms of death, I think you get in a good place where you realize you don't need to kill it, or it doesn't need to die in order for you to recognize something greater than that. Which, at least for me, was a big step, realizing that I didn't have to fight and struggle to something internally. But yeah.
It's interesting that the whole concept, like you were talking there about ego and this battle, because actually ego is part of us, I think. And you, it's not that ego is bad in and of itself. It can also be looked at as confidence in our abilities. It's when we try to project that in a way that is trying to either promote us beyond or to overshadow others, that ego becomes detrimental.
It gets really sticky.
So how long did it take you then you said it took 6 months for you to kind of understand that you were going to dedicate your life to this.
Yeah.
Is that the point in time when you got your new name, or was that after other things had to happen?
Yeah. When I was doing it back nearly 20 years ago, I got my name after my first set, my trial run.
Okay.
But now what they're doing is they're letting you do the trial run, and if you're really into it, once you do the lifetime vows, you get the name.
So if you do the lifetime vows and you later on, like 3-4 years down the road, decide you want to be a monk, but you don't want to live in the monastery, you can move out and you just live according to the religion. And I don't want to say religion, but Buddhism is connected to the monks. Hey, is that you guys' religion? Is Buddhism?
No, it comes from a similar area. It comes from somewhere in India, the Vedic tradition, from what Hinduism, Buddhism, Zen, and Japan kind of arose from. But if in terms of, it's more of a philosophy, I would say, more like Advaita Vedanta. If you've ever heard that term, it's about the oneness of all things, the oneness of our being related to all others and all of creation. So it's really experiencing that rather than believing that. Quite often teachings have an inner teaching and an outer teaching. So in Christianity, the outer teaching would be the Bible, the Ten Commandments, the etc. In Buddhism, the outer teaching is about karma or the Four Noble Truths. I'm not really clued up on anybody else, but I think all the religions, really, the inner teaching is human beings who have discovered the same thing about their true humanity and have wanted to relay that to other individuals who want the same thing. And for other people, they're saying, well, follow these 10 steps and you'll live a much better life. But the inner teaching has always been the same amongst all the world's religions, I would say, if it's true. And it's the one trunk that is, all the religions come down to one trunk, one essential truth. And that's what the Ishayas are about, living that, being that. And we have an outer teaching too, but it's based around a greater, happier, more effective life based on appreciation and gratitude and love and compassion and service. So it's, that I wouldn't call it a religion either, but.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more of a set of beliefs, core values.
Yeah,
is more like that, and that's when I think that if you take the formal religions and you actually get to the root of those, it takes you in that direction. And then there's a commonality that a lot of, I think, formalized religions don't want to recognize. Is that the real commonality is more in these
love.
These core beliefs around love and things along those lines, as opposed to deities or these additional commandments or rules or things along those lines that oftentimes get structured in a way that are trying to pit one religion against another, as opposed to just getting back to the core, the trunk, and recognizing that all these branches really started from the trunk. So let's go to the trunk and focus on that, or the root, if you want to call it that, the tap root, whatever.
The tree of life.
The tree of life. Yeah, exactly. It appears everywhere, doesn't it?
It is. So we are in the middle of a pandemic. How? What is the I want to phrase this right now. Sorry, my English is my second language. I'm trying to not say this in Afrikaans. What is your opinion about, or a monk's opinion, or from your religious views or whatever, the opinion about COVID and what's going on in the world at the moment?
What is my opinion?
Yes, your personal opinion. What do you, or your opinion from your point of view, seeing about the virus and what's going on and them locking down everything again?
And I mean, again, I've kind of think people should really point the finger back at their own heart and kind of get a sense of what is really good and true for them. I think what it's shown people is that we watch far too much TV and we listen to far too much gossip. I think you got to be very careful about where you get your information from, and that you don't block off anybody because they're not part of our group. I think really, instead of being fearful and suspicious, you got to be courageous and curious. I think that's basically what I think, to give you a very undefined answer.
I'm going to put your website out on there, so that all the audience can follow that. And I'm going to try to share my screen here and show your website. And if you can, I think everybody can see it now.
There we go.
Wanted to, just as we're going through it, it looks like you're time to live differently. And then you're kind of giving some ideas here, things that as you're moving from one, maybe kind of the way the world is oftentimes, to the way that it could be. Can you give us a little bit more background on kind of some of what you have just identified here in your website?
Well, I think, and kind of maybe tapping into the COVID thing, is often we look at the external world, like I was saying, well, when this is different, then I can be happier, more solid, more free. And basically what I want to teach people is just be more free now, regardless of the circumstances. And when you're free, you can change the circumstances much easier as you see fit. In terms of intention, just being as present as possible and seeing what the moment needs, rather than kind of sticking awkwardly with a plan or having no plan every single day. There's the 200% life. I love that, just that sense of 100% inner presence and peace, and 100% enjoyment of everything life has to offer. As it says, a great life begins between your ears.
Yeah, and then I saw this 108 ways to be free of anxiety, regret, stress, and thinking too much.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like this is a book that you wrote.
Yeah, it's more of a pamphlet.
Okay, a pamphlet that our audience can download from your site.
Yep.
And it'll help them to better be free and kind of follow some of the things and along the lines of your beliefs and how you've kind of moved from where you were to where you are today. Is that kind of what this is about?
Yeah. And basically it's all wrapped up around being present, being more mindful, being more intentional. And there's a lot of things that take us away from that presence and mindfulness. So it's just a little shot so I can get people on my website, on my email list, and also give them something to read and consider and perhaps change about the way they're doing things.
Awesome. And if they were to go through and kind of just read those 108, what was your goal in trying to, is it something that people like should read one a day and kind of try to go along with that? Or is it something to try to, read them all and then pick out the ones that best kind of focus on things that they feel they need at this point in time? How would they best use? I mean, 108 is a lot of different things, right?
It is. Yeah. I mean, both. I think both. I think for me, I just sat and bashed away at my computer saying, how have I changed my life? What are the things that I really do myself and what I recommend to other people? What creates more aliveness in my life? What can I tell people will create more aliveness for them? So I think maybe flicking through, as you said, reading them all, or maybe just focusing on one and go, oh, okay, all right, look at my phone less. Get out in nature more, gossip less. That could be an assignment for a week or a month or a year.
Right.
But
don't gossip at all.
Oh, I know.
I hate gossip. I hate when people talk nasty about other people or go out of their way to make other people's life difficult by just saying things that's unnecessary. You might think it, but you do not have to say it. Just saying. So Mandy's got a question. She says, she asks if monks can heal people.
Sometimes, not this one. I wish I could, but do you know, it's an interesting thing because my teacher was talking about healing yourself the other day, and it's been fascinating because my mother-in-law was also a monk, and she eventually died of cancer, but she lived for 16, 17 years, a very long time from the original diagnosis, maybe 6 months. And for her, and what I've seen in myself and what my teacher was saying, healing all begins with acceptance. When you can purely accept the way things are, the way your body is, when you can even be grateful on top of that acceptance, then healing has a chance to take place. If we're focused on what's wrong to the point of getting stressed and annoyed and feeling upset and scared, then that's only going to hit our immune system in a negative way. It means our bodies won't function or won't heal as fast or at all. And I think so often people are looking, and I know why, but so often they're looking for healing again. So when my health looks like this, then I can feel like that. And I totally get it, because there's a lot of pain and suffering involved in ill health and disease. And yet, when you accept, when you come to a place of absolute gratitude for the way your body is, it allows you to feel so much happier and content and full of peace now, but not when I'm healed, right? And so I so get the healing and the wanting to release trauma and keep doing that, but find peace, find gratitude for the way things are now, because your body might not change. And disease for me and for my mother-in-law, I know for certain, was being the greatest teacher ever. It shows us how to be more free, even with a body that doesn't look ideal.
You saying me and my mother-in-law? Do you also have cancer?
No, sorry, not cancer, but in terms of injuries and
for the kayaking.
Being beaten up,
or just normal life.
both, but our bodies are one of our greatest teachers, and sometimes by taking away, if we made it the way that we wanted it to, we would take away the lesson and ultimately lose. And sometimes that journey to healing, I think, is an important one. And as I said, one of the greatest realizations on any healing is that this is the way it is. Come from acceptance and contentment and gratitude first, and then any physical healing will come from that inner layer.
Just want to say hi to PJ. Shout out, one of my friends that just popped in. Yeah, and he's got a question for you. He says, are monks allowed to fight? Because we've seen movies where monks can do some very, very fast karate moves, I want to say. How do you handle people coming at you violently?
I don't have people coming at me violently.
Thank goodness.
And if I do, I'm a pretty good runner. So
you don't lose a fight on 100 meters.
yeah, I mean, I've got some buddies who are monks who love Brazilian jiu-jitsu. You know, that's all the rage at the moment, and so they grapple and they wrestle and they fight, but their inner balance is never thrown out. So.
Okay, that's very interesting. And then, sorry, Brett, do you have a question, or can I just ask my question before?
No, go ahead.
So the word nirvana, is that like your heaven? Is that something else? How do you explain the word nirvana to people? Or when you explain to people nirvana, you're going to nirvana, the levels and everything. How do you explain that to people?
Yeah, the first word that comes to mind is completeness.
Okay. And that is that in real life, or is that after death that you only go to nirvana, or how?
No, it's the perfection of the present moment.
Okay.
And my teacher's teacher once said that the perfection of the present moment is both the path and the goal to any to the science of union, to the science of yoga. So you could say nirvana is realizing that this moment is perfect. Our minds are the only things that are removing us from this perfection. So, yeah, it's not about another time or another place. It's realizing that it's here now, and I want to show up to it.
I like that because, you know, we often talk about living in the here and now, and yet most people live in the past or the future, where this concept of perfection of the present moment is like bringing the past and the future together into this present moment. In a perfection of this present moment enables you to move into the future in a more, I guess, in a more complete way, because you're focusing on the here and now. And when you do that, I think it kind of frees your mind to also accept what and even envision what the future may bring, because you're not necessarily focused on the future or the past. You're allowing the present to kind of create that next step.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So Mama Gotti said something. She said nirvana is being completely young, complete. It's about conscious connection. And then she says the word oneness. So with the spirituality and everything, they talk about the law of attraction, the law of oneness. I think there's 7 laws. Do you monks also work on that 7 laws, the 7 laws of spirituality, or is there something else that you guys use? Do they use law of manifestation, law of oneness, and all those things?
To tell you the truth, I don't know what the laws. I know what the law of manifestation is, but I don't know the other 7 or the other 6 that you're talking about. I'm sorry.
I also don't know all of them. I know about 3, but I know there is 7. But I can't help you with what they are.
What are the other 3? Give me something on that.
I think it's oneness. The law of oneness is being one with everything and all around you. And then the law of manifestation is you manifest everything that you think. So once you start thinking positive thoughts, you co-create your own life, because you manifest it. So you see where you want to be in life. Let's take, for instance, I have manifested myself into America. So making that happen about 2-3 years ago, I started doing all the things to get me into America. So using the law of manifestation. So it's the law of oneness, law of manifestation. And I don't know what the other one is. I'm gonna see what it is, and I'm gonna post it because it's very interesting. Okay. So do monks also have that kind of laws, or is that like connected to your vows that you have?
Well, I think it's for me, it's come to be a different way of looking at manifestation. I mean, you're right. Our thoughts and our emotions create our reality. They do. The question becomes, you got to be very careful whether you're manifesting or creating from the level of your ego or from the will of the universal spirit, from the will of God. You know, my will or thy will. And for me, when I started playing ages back with manifesting things, I was definitely creating things from my ego, from my will. And life has become a lot easier and a lot more directed, surrendered when I've let the will of God create for me. Now, it's an interesting thing because once you get, the clearer you listen to your source of wisdom, the clearer you align with the will of God. I mean, the surrender is listening to others, but it's also listening to their intuition. So you create from that. But it's an important point to go, you know, is this something that you're creating from your ego or from complete alignment with what's true?
Okay, so how would you know the difference? How would
Yeah.
you know which one is from ego and which one is from
Yep.
source, as you said, from God or source?
Yeah. With the ego, usually it gets sticky. There's a lot of struggle and a lot of should and a lot of past future in it. The will of God is supremely smooth and easy and patient and fun.
Okay.
You really are out of the way. You there's no agenda. It's like, wow, that would be really nice, and it happens in its own good time, but incredibly smoothly. So, I mean, for example, I love writing, right? And I could sit there and manifest and really focus on the things that I think I should have in terms of a writing career. Or I can sit down every day and write and take the steps in terms of publicity and meeting people and connecting and still do a lot of things, but let it happen a lot more organically and fluidly. I think we have ideas of the way things should be versus the way things need to be. and it's good to surrender to the way things are supposed to be. So yeah, I think when you got to be on the lookout for struggle and trying to force open locked doors. I mean, that's a clear sign that, you know, you got to step back and relax.
Yeah, I try I think even yesterday we were talking a little bit about should and what should is. And you should, or you should, or you should, or you should. And I look at it this way, and I can't take this credit for myself. Actually, I heard this first from Tony Robbins, but it's like, why would you want to should all over yourself? You know, stop that. You know, that word itself is about as can lead you in that same direction as the way that it just sounded when I said that. You know, why do you want to should all over yourself or should all over somebody else?
Yeah.
Stop with the should, because that is trying to project or almost take your ego and project it on somebody else. This is how you should do something, how you should live your life, how you should have dealt with this. No, that's your ego trying to tell others how you think the world should be, as opposed to allowing source to really kind of guide you in the direction. At least that's kind of how I'm thinking of it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
You wrote 2 books. So the one is the 108, that 108. What is your other book about?
So that little 108 is just a little pamphlet. It's a little 5-page A4 thing. I wrote 2 proper books.
2 full books.
The first one was called 200%, an instruction manual for living fully.
Wow.
And it really was a way of explaining to my 20-something self how to, there you go. It's the one in the middle.
Right.
But just a way
in the middle, Brett.
Just a way of saying, hey, this is my rules for a better life.
Okay. kayaker turned monk to promote meditation. How long do you meditate? Do you meditate 10 minutes? Do you meditate? Because I've seen seen the monks meditate quite often and for long periods of time. So how long do you guys meditate?
Yeah, I try and get 2 hours every day.
Wow.
When I was in the
How do
monastery,
you silence your mind for 2 hours?
you don't.
Wow.
I like that.
You take the easy road. Yeah. So many people think meditation is about that, right? To be some sort of traffic controller and be like, no, stop, go away. And it's so much easier. Like if it's raining outside, is just to come inside. The washing machine of your mind, it will beat you up if you're in the washing machine. It's so much better just to step outside the glass, just a half a step back. Then it still goes on, but you're removed from it. You're high and dry. Yeah? So it's finding the awareness, the presence that is beyond thought and emotion. And often for people that begins by just focusing on something simple like the breath. You know, you can't breathe, truly be interested and curious about the breath and be in the past or the future. But there's certain mantras and things that really help distance yourself, separate yourself out from your thoughts and emotions. Sorry, Brett.
No, I was just going to ask, you know, in terms of, okay, there's a way to live your life, and then there's also a way to support your life. Mm-hmm. Meaning, you know, what is it? Do you do or use your learnings or teachings as a monk to earn your living, or do you do something else to earn your living? And this is something that you help people along the way. How are you doing that? Yeah,
at the moment, it's really teaching meditation and yoga and how to live a better life to a variety of people. I mean, I've been working with the military and the police for 6 years now, so very much tapping into sort of how can I help someone with a busy, stressful, action-packed life step back from the washing machine of it. When they come home after a hectic day, how can they disconnect from the day and reconnect with their family or their home life? So that ranges from breathing techniques to explaining certain ways of looking at the world differently to full-on meditation retreats. So, yeah.
But so you do classes or seminars with
yep.
like those communities?
Yep. Yeah. And just athletes. I tend to get a hold of, talk to a lot of athletes, and then people who are really interested on a deeper level of spirituality as well. So
you feel that
is it available to everybody else, or is that, how would they connect with you, or if they want to, you know, contact you to see if you can help them with some of their situations?
Yeah. Well, social media, I'm on all the medias, and the website arjunaishaya.com is a good way of getting in touch with me too. So yeah, just really that way. Yeah.
You have a podcast as well.
I started it. I was so busy finishing my second book, I haven't really gotten on to making sure.
Yeah. How do you do? When is your podcast? When is your podcast going to be up and running? And what is your content of your podcast? Sorry, Afrikaans again.
No, it's. I'm staggered. I can barely speak one language. So. I wanted it to be. It was going to be, because I send out a weekly email, and it was going to be me reading that and going deeper into it. Just various topics on how to live the inner path or for a better outer life. When that's a big question. I really I've got a few things on my plate at the moment.
All in divine timing.
All in divine time. Yeah, all in perfect time. Exactly. But yeah, it's something I want to do because I love talking, and I just want to connect with people on a while they were in their cars or something. I thought it'd be a nice way of doing.
No, I was just trying to make sure that we got Arjuna's website out there again so that people know how and
Thank you.
To contact him. Now, right now, where do you currently live?
I live in the UK in Yorkshire, up in the north of England.
Okay. And when you were studying to be a monk, did you go somewhere to do that, or was that through something that was local? Just out of curiosity.
No, it was in Canada, in British Columbia.
Oh.
Is there monasteries all over where you can become a monk, so you don't have to go to Tibet?
Yeah, you don't have to go to Tibet, but
Oh, I want to go.
At the moment, my teacher's based in Spain, so I really just go where he was. He's been in Canada, Mexico, and now Spain.
Oh, wow. So if you've got the chance to teach our viewers anything to help them on their spiritual journey, or just something to help them with their anxiety, something very quick and easy, what is the one thing that you will teach them if you had the opportunity now in 5 minutes to teach them?
If I had 5 minutes, I think it'd be two things. Just a deep belly breath in through the nose into the belly. Very slow, very easy, and just tell people to slow down. Just take their time. Their minds are optional, not a reality. And learn to focus on what they have, what they know is real, rather than the worries and the doubts and the fantasies of our own mind. That's what I would try and convey in 5 minutes.
No, I think that's awesome. And in fact, one of the things, a lot of people that smoke, what they're actually doing is they're breathing deep. It's unfortunately they're breathing in smoke while they're doing it, but what they're really doing, and where a lot of the value comes in, is it's a way that they're connecting through breath. Because when you do smoke, normally you breathe, you suck the smoke in, but you also and you can do that without a cigarette. That's the cool thing, right?
And smokers take regular breaks. They get up from their desks if you got a desk job or whatever you're attached into doing, and just go outside and chat and breathe and take a moment, and so
and you can even do that without a cigarette. That's what I was getting at, is it's something that we forget about, though. We do. Breath is something that we take for granted. And it's, if we actually just take a few breaths or go outside and take our smoke break without a cigarette, and breathe that way, you do reconnect and you feel that energy. I mean, just breathing deep once, really taking a deep breath and holding it for just a couple seconds and exhaling, you can feel that physically in your body, which also affects you mentally. So it's not something that you have to, take an hour and go sit in the corner and do this. You can actually do this even at your desk if you can't get away, and just breathe a few deep breaths and chill, and you get recentered and regrounded to a degree, maybe not completely, but closer than you were 2 seconds ago. And it's so simple.
I've got one last question. What was the biggest lesson that you've learned before becoming a monk, and how do you apply that in your everyday life? Something that was just a lesson that you didn't expect was going to happen
before I became a monk.
Yes, before you. Because do monks still get lessons, or do they just go with the flow?
One life is one big lesson. But I think the difference is you just say thank you rather than why is this happening to me.
True, that is true.
Before becoming a monk, it was really that success has to be an internal satisfaction. It's it's impossible to base it on a possession or a career or people
A
or
person even.
anything. It has to be an internal orientation and has to be chosen in each and every moment. And I realized that before I became a monk, but I just didn't know how to have it. So that's what being a monk gave me.
Can I just say that you have such a calm energy about you?
Yeah, cool.
Very, very calming, and like it's just so calming. And thank you for spending time with us and letting us into your world and telling us how your life goes and your lessons and everything. We appreciate it very much. Guys, go like and follow and subscribe to Junior. Junior.
Arjuna.
I'm so
That's
scared
my
of
nickname,
swearing it.
Junior.
Junior. Okay, so I'll call you by your nickname. So no, I'm not swearing. So Junior, how we end off the show is we each get a time a few couple of minutes just to give our viewers a snippet of advice. Like, see it as you have the world at your feet for 5 minutes and you give them information that's going to help them during the day. So I'll go first and then Brett can go and then you can end off the show for us. But
Wow.
Thank you so much for being here. We really, really appreciate it.
Oh, my
Absolutely.
absolute pleasure. Thank you guys. I mean, I've had a ball. Thank you so much for having me on. You're awesome.
Thank you so much. So I'll go first. Are you doing the backstage things, Brett? Awesome. Guys, today the lesson is to breathe. That's all you do is breathe. So I had a very exciting morning. I was led and got a new tarot deck. And that's my weakness. I can't walk past them. So I cleansed my cards and everything, and I pulled a card for you guys today. And it's the 5 of Cups. And this, as you can see, this person is looking at the cups that fell over and not seeing the 2 cups behind them. And this card basically means, what I want to say to you today is don't look at the spilled milk of a situation where something did not go your way, but always know that the universe have blessings for you if you decide to focus on the 2 full cups behind you and not the 3 cups that's lying in front of you. You guys are amazing. Stay authentic. Stay amazing. See you tomorrow. Love you lots. Mwah.
All right. Well, and kind of what we started with when we were talking about Captain America and Iron Man, and with what Arjuna is talking about is, get a better understanding of what your natural genius is, because when you understand your natural genius, you can focus on getting into your flow. And when you're into your flow, you can create that perfection of the present moment, because that's the time when 8 hours flies by and you think it was just a moment. It was that perfection of the present moment, which lasted 8 hours, because you were in your natural flow and you were following what just your natural tendencies are, your natural energies are. So look for your flow, follow your flow, and when you can guide your life into your flow, life becomes one as opposed to many, and that kind of goes into the concept of oneness.
Beautifully said.
On the spot.
Your turn.
You're not, all of us, none of us are broken. None of us are damaged or half formed. You're beautiful and complete exactly as you are. Your mind will tell you different. And so your role in life is to recognize your completeness exactly as you are. You have everything that you need. Just listen. Take the time. Slow down. Be that person you were born to be. Okay? You're awesome. Go out and have fun.
Perfect. Well, thank you again, Arjuna. We really appreciate you being on the show. Thank you, audience, for being out there. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And
all the new
hopefully
faces.
today is just another lesson in some things that you can take into your life and bring about a peace and oneness that may be a little bit closer than it was before the show and yesterday.
Exactly. So like our YouTube channel, our Discord channel, our Facebook page, our YouTube, I said YouTube channel. So please just like and share so we can get the message out to like-minded people and people in our community and people that we want in our community. So please, guys, share, like, subscribe, and do all those pretty things for us.
All right, everybody, have a great day.
Thank you so much.
It's a huge
Thank you.
pleasure. Bye.